All right, let's make sure everything is still running the way I want it to. All right, let's make sure everything is still running the way I want it to. And yes, satisfactory was the last thing we ran. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. And ensure that the game itself is set to yes, satisfactory. Cool. And our rate is looking good. No drop frames. Everything's running decent speed. Good stuff. All right, let's get rolling. Last we left off. Is that cat that's been at the door? Yeah, we don't care about the kitty. All right, so last we left off, we'd torn down most of the factory here. So, I mean, just gotta finish up getting the rebuild so we can start sending materials out. Which that should be nice. Should be fairly simple. Uh, all right. So let's get it. So we want to get a secondary truck station set up. We need rotor, cable, frame. Rotor, cable, and frames should be in one of these. Oh, you telling me I lost it when I tore down? Ah, man. Reinforced plates. Oh man, having that dimensional storage, man, speeds things up quite a bit. I'm glad that adventure led to getting some Sam randomly. Oh man, but let's see. It's been a minute. Been fighting that deluge. Let's see. How that finish up, we'll get some frames built up, we'll get the truck station built, we'll get that all set up. This area should be good to completely spin down. Oh yeah, I need to get my Excel sheet open with my project manager. Just because I'm gonna be a nerd. Let's see what we got. So, all right. So, where were we at? Let's just throw that up top quickly. So we kind of dropped a lot of stuff here to get onto what was that? Our power system, which anything factory one, we're just canceling. I should be able to uh this one. Yeah, we'll run with that. Anything factory one should be able to be killed because we just completely killed factory one. Let's go ahead, filter factory one. Yeah, canceled. There we go. So factory one is canceled because we got the new factory coming online. That'll be our new factory one. Factory two, concrete for encased beams. This one is actually also canceled. Because we killed this too. That's going up top now. Factory 3 is the only one that's actually live still. That's the quartz facility. All right. So what do we got? We'll ignore Factory 3 for now. Because modular frame line, copper sheet constructor line. Okay, good stuff. Oh, yay, project management. Let's get a couple modular frames thrown out there. Now they're suddenly in my inventory, or maybe I'm just a fool. Let's go ahead. Let's see. Get this guy. How much space are we gonna need that further forward if we want to make the concrete here? Because there's no reason to transport the limestone when we can transport a finished good. Bring that in nice and tight. And what are we running speed-wise here? 60. What can we run max over here on concrete? We're looking at... I'll just grab my power slugs. Yep, got him. We can do up to 37.5. Oh, we need two of you guys. Okay. Never gonna complain about some additional throughput. And then we'll just kick that guy up to 75. I mean, even then, at that point, it's worth it just to send it over to the main factory. I think that's what we're gonna do. We'll send to the main factory. Because we might as well maximize resource utilization. I'm doing all right. How you doing, Binary? Thanks for the follow there. All right, so let's actually just spin this up. We'll actually just build and transport raw material to a place where we can process better. As much as I'd love to do it here. It'll give us a bit more efficiency, and we got the space over at the other factory that I think will work out much better overall. Yeah, what you thinking through there? I am very keenly aware of having to work through stuff lately, man. I mean, definitely get that. I mean, uh, yeah, exit Atmo. I mean, depends on if you're talking game or IRL. Uh, I'm an old, I'm an ex-SpaceXer, so I mean, I've always had to be careful because the people who I've talked to in my life are sometimes meaning it literally. All right. I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's just all handle and velocity at that point, right? And thrust and everything else. Uh, oh, come on, I'm a little off center. You're kidding. Let's see what we can do. There we go. I mean, yeah, rockets are just the easiest and the one we've dumped the most funding into figuring out how to do, right? We'll take the curve. I mean, an absolutely ludicrous amount of funding going into aerospace rocketry. My God. Oh yeah, no. Eventually, we got to move away from rockets. I mean, hell, when I was at SpaceX, the guy who's the plant manager for Starlink, he's the guy who was the project manager for landing the first Falcon 9, and it was kind of fun. I mean, one of my favorite stories from him. Was right before they got the first launch done, the first landing on the drone ship. He said he was getting mercilessly harassed by the guy who was the captain of the drone ships, uh, basically asking him, "So, when are you going to stop trying to sink my damn ships with the world's largest anti-ship ballistic missile?" Which he's like, "Hopefully this next one," and no promises. And then he like next one they landed it nearly spot on. Landing a one-way method rocket is, oh yeah, no, it's wildly hard. Like, I mean, now that we've developed the technology, it's getting easier. But no, I mean, it's not even Elon, it's all of the engineers who are backing up the work that's being done, man. All right, so we got this running. We need to get our major power coming in. CTOL. Oh yeah, for vertical takeoff and everything else. Yeah, my brain had to go and remember because it's like, why is that familiar? I grew up in an Marine Corps town with Harriers. It's like that's yeah. No, I mean uh, that is a good question. Like, why haven't we quite hit that yet? Because I mean, other than I mean, just velocity and fuel, and then what is it? The kind of paradox that is trying to have a fuel that has enough uh, thrust or energy potential while counteracting weight. Because I know that's one of the big ones for Starlink is they would do the low Earth orbit injection because by going at a lower orbit and using the electron thrusters, they were able to basically use less fuel and get more. Oh, the electron thrusters? Oh yeah, dude, those things. Yeah, I've seen them actually in person. Because Starlink is using the krypton thrusters for the plasma, and uh, basically you ionize the plasma, you use a magnetic field, and you're using what is that third law for every action equal and opposite, uh, and they would yeah, no, it was highly efficient. It's what let them do the low Earth orbit injection, use the krypton thrusters to get up to service altitude and everything else, and it meant that they were able to get like I think it was something like 15 krypton gas. So krypton gas because it has a slightly higher density. And so that higher density means that in effect you get more thrust as opposed to any of the other gases that are being used. Uh, so red hydrogen, okay. Yeah, we were specifically using Krypton, and Krypton was great. I mean, got the satellites taken care of with no issues, helped with all the general maneuverability. And I need to plug you in. Let's see. But yeah, no, they had the giant vacuum chambers, and we basically pull it down to a a high atmospheric orbital vacuum, and you get to see those things fire up, and you get to see the plasma arcs coming off of them. It was wild. Yeah, I mean, it's just resource availability, right? Because red and purple, yeah. So you're going with what is that? That just ends up becoming like ionized, right? Or is it ionized or is it oh my gosh, my brain. Because I know that hydrogen typically will reject anything to make it an isotope. Okay, nuclear power, yep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that'd be great because if you can use it almost as like a byproduct off of a nuclear facility, that would open up a lot of potential. Oh yeah, no, it's been cool stuff, man. Like definitely never thought I'd end up in the aerospace industry for the longest time there, but I mean, things happen. They're doing cool work in the Redmond, Washington area, and I know that they have some extended work going on around the country for supporting Starlink. I mean, definitely met people far smarter than myself who were working on it. One of the gals that was in a D&D group I was running while I was there, she ended up getting tapped to be a part of a doctoral program over at MIT. Uh, Despite only having her bachelor's, the work she did was notable enough. They just were like, "Hey, we got a PhD program. You want to come do it?" All right, so let's see. Oh, we can tear the rest of this down. What am I doing space-wise? I have no space. I'll just utilize this. But yeah, no, I mean, the biggest thing is atmospherically, electron thrusters just run into the stopgap that is, uh, they just frankly don't have enough energy potential for the velocity to overcome atmospheric friction and the force of gravity. Like, there's so many different things that weigh against it, which is why we're still kind of in that original state for whatchamacallit, no power. Oh, come on, man. Why we're still relying on like traditional solid fuels. Perfect. I mean, what is it? Because you have there's been a couple different things of like the railgun, coil gun, like magnetic launch systems that they talk about. You've got other the what was it? Virgin Galactic that was doing the assisted like from a aircraft launch. Uh, Blue Origin just got into the orbital class and is getting prepped for their lunar mission, which that's a huge win for Blue Origin and that team. Like it's been really awesome to get to see their progress as they move forward on that. Oh yeah, or the because there's series on that for like cargo of could we just put it because I know that they say like G forces that could be problematic for people, but like the amount of energy that would be required is kind of typically thought to be at a point of it actually potentially put enough G forces to be deadly, depending on which version of it you look at. Uh, and yeah, just kind of getting into all that. There's other like systems where it's like utilization of centrifugal force of like they basically have you on like a giant oh man, what is it? Just on a closed loop, almost like the Hadron Collider, where they're just constantly accelerating, and then at the last minute they change the track direction and just shoot you and go from your centrifugal up into a vertical. Uh, there's all kinds of weird ideas. I mean, heck, we even have Satisfactory with our elevator here, right? Uh, I heard some random rumors around that platform. Some claim 2.4 nuclear reactors. Yeah, no, exactly. Like the amount of energy you have to be able to dump into that is just insane. Uh, and that's kind of what has traditionally kept it in that theoretical state. Are you already at 3? No, you're not. There we go. There we go. That gets everything running. But yeah, no, there's a lot of wild ideas out there. I think the biggest thing we run into fundamentally is just that it gets into like funding, right? And then what do we do with nuclear waste? Because that's been the continuous question for nuclear utilization is how do we manage the waste coming off of the system? Like we still don't really have a valid method. Uh, I mean, teachable, yeah. But like for disposal of nuclear waste, like there's the old joke of, well, why don't we just send it all into the sun? And it's like the whole like kind of rationalizing with uh like our launch technologies are still like very risky and very primitive in a lot of scopes. Uh I mean, it's the whole thing of like how do we utilize it, right? Because I know most of the time it's in the isotopes that we just can't really do much with, and so again, if we can develop new technology, sure. Uh, the biggest thing being is if you look at a lot of technological development, what you end up seeing is let me go ahead and hit the chat bots because all the fun that is. But a lot of the funding ends up coming from public sector. I mean, even back into the days of the first lunar landing and everything, like that technology wasn't highly viable until we hit the point of uh, we did it. It was publicly funded, and then that technology got basically sent out into the rest of industry, and then it became something where it could become profitable. There we go. And boom. Oh yeah, I mean it's very much on that mindset of like we should be moving forward, but how do we get people excited about it anymore, right? The whole reason we had so much support for the moon landing and everything was you know, the space race with the Russians. And we just lost the ability to have a general public that was excited about space anymore. Like very much at the scope of what was it, almost 6 years ago now was the first time I had something on a launch. And like that was back in the early days, like that was 2019, right before the pandemic, when the fact that we were doing the launches as frequently as we were still kind of wild. Uh, but now it's just like, yeah, every couple weeks, SpaceX is launching a rocket, and we're all just kind of a bit more desensitized to it. I talking I mean, Interstellar, I mean, even Mars has been a bit of a challenge to get people excited for, just because, like, for most people, it's not something that will ever, like, truly affect them. Like, there's definitely, like, it's space is not something that, at least within the next probably 10 to probably about, I think 10 is on the high end of the estimate there. It's not something that we'll be able to have like blue collar workers find accessible to themselves. And I think that's where we end up kind of fighting that problem of like, oh, it's toys for the rich and the famous to be able to play with. Versatile frameworks, automated wiring, those are the big two. And so it's kind of how do we get it reframed out the idea of like it's not just like the national call that the space race was, or even the kind of billionaires going out into space and doing their thing. Okay, so this is good. We got all of these running. We're gonna break down the rest of this, and from there we'll get new power run out to the facility at large. Once it's utilized, it's become more common than the average car. I mean, even still, like as we are, because we're about to hit the kind of sunset of the era of the International Space Station, even, and a lot of the private industry has been largely subsidized by the resupply missions for the space station. So I mean, that's where we're kind of going to start seeing some of the challenge become a bit more prevalent of like what endeavors are being funded that continue to make the private investment in space technology worthwhile. Because like was it we've been having the conversation for a while now about the mining uh, of asteroids, right, and using that for bringing resources in outside of just terrestrial resources. And like it's that whole thing of like business needs to be able to make a profit, and so how do we continue to incentivize private industry when the public sector initiatives start to you know sunset within societal need, because that's been one of the big kind of questions a lot of people who a lot of the employees holding SpaceX stock end up asking is like, what does this look like after the fact? Like we've luckily Starlink is spun up now and making money, so there's a lot of protection there. But otherwise, how does that develop? And these guys are going to be overrun and overfilled. That's expected. Everything downstream should be running smooth. Perfect. All right, let's end it at the end of the line for limestone. But yeah, I mean, the ISS sundowning is representative of a much larger kind of change within the societal structure of like what our relationship to space and space-based research is and how that's going to continue developing moving forward, right? Uh, it's a really interesting kind of like edge case of what's going to be happening. For anyone who has been hanging out or seen the progress, we're spinning up our primary, what is probably our version of a gigafactory. Uh, Finally getting our truck station set up and moving away from these belts running like caustic veins across the landscape. Uh, and then we've got our power plant set up underneath. Because, what is it? We got, yeah, our power plant all down below over the lake bed. Thank God we don't have to deal with actual cantilever physics in this, and we just get to build without things collapsing, because otherwise this would be a massive superstructure of engineering. Oh, I mean, the hardest part about keeping the whatchamacallit, the ISS up is that it is on a degradational orbit. Like, it does require occasional thrust engagements to keep it at an orbital uh, height, because the orbit will naturally decay until such a point that it would re-enter the atmosphere anyway. It's just on a little bit of a longer period than most other things, just due to the altitude at which it is sitting at presently. Like, unfortunately, the ISS is doomed one day to return back to Earth, and it's just the unfortunate reality that we're stuck with. What makes them right? And you know, it's just the whole thing of like, uh, at that point, if you're having to supply it materials long term to keep it in orbit, like it's a very high cost item to maintain. Dimensional depot. There we go. Oh man, Kuiper's space program, dude. That did so much for people's knowledge on space, and like the math in it is legit, which is probably the coolest part altogether. There we go. Oh yeah, an absolute staple. It's just you know, like a lot of other technology, eventually it becomes something that we move forward from, right? Or at least that's the dream. All right, so we got that going. We'll run the limestone down to the end of the line, since that's a unique resource, and I'm not likely the encased beams, but we can do something with that down the line. It won't be as big a deal, and it doesn't require the refining like other stuff does. We just drop it straight into constructors. Let's see. That's an out. We can't line up here. Can we? No, we cannot. Surely next thing we build more of an orbital platform or something of the likes. I mean, time will tell, right? It's gonna be interesting to see what kind of fills the void within kind of the needs or the desires as we kind of move forward. Like it's we're gonna be doing something kind of cool, I'm sure. Like regardless, like we're not gonna settle for something lesser, especially with what the justifications for public funding will require. I don't like that. There we go. Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of options that'll be more efficient, right? I think one of my buddies he made a really good point to it of like we aren't really going to see much in the advancement of aerospace technology until we start moving towards a bit more of the kind of Star Trek level of uh, you know one united Earth moving into the stars, or at minimum, a Earth that is only divided by like into two major nations. And I think that's kind of where that next major stepping stone of the space industry will be for us as a species. Because until then, we're just, it's a divided effort with everyone having only so much money to dump into solving the problems. And yeah, it's going to have to be a global joint effort to see what comes next. And I mean, hopefully, it's not a global joint effort in the scope kind of what they've are alluding to with Fix It for Satisfactory, right? Where it's the last ditch effort to try and save the planet because, we screwed up the environment so bad. Right, that should have enough space. Let's see if that does it. Oh, can I get it? I'll take the default. More in the lines of Star Citizen or Elite Dangerous. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Fix It won't be the thing we do, no, but what was it? The thing that fundamentally led to me like kind of getting the bad vibe on SpaceX was it the game The Outer Worlds? Uh yeah, the Outer Worlds. Dude, that just felt a little too real when you work at a, capitalist space company. But we'll see. All right, so we got this. That gives us our three. Yeah, and maybe we won't do any of it at all because, I mean, yeah, no, humans are stubborn. I mean, it's the whole fact that exists of uh, the idea of Mars is actually kind of futile in the grand scheme of things. Because, I mean, since Mars has the solid core, we don't have a molten core, there is no ionosphere, which means that the solar bombardment will just be continuous. And from that, you run into the issue that no one will ever be able to walk under a Martian sun, uh, even if we did terraform it, because the amount of radiation coming off of into the atmosphere would actually be deadly still. Uh, and then even then, there's the argument of if we can terraform a planet, why are we wasting our time with going to a new planet when we could just, use that same technology on Earth and, fix Earth? Which is a valid point. Like, I mean, if we're gonna go through all the trouble, why don't we just fix our own planet instead of just going to a new one to go screw up? I mean, if there are no protection for the surface, there won't be any terraforming. Yeah, and again, it's like at best you're living in tunnels underground or in the domes. So, Epcot. Uh, and even then, I mean, uh, the Cloud Cities on Venus, like the fact that we are still kind of constantly asleep on that concept, because I mean, Cloud Cities on Venus is truly where it's at if you're talking like wanting to colonize on other planets. Man, we ain't doing that. We're gonna run one more. Let's see. We will drop. You know what? Screw it. We're at 4-4. Right, we need a. All right. Overhead power. Cloud cities kind of like Stanton orbital cities and Star System. I don't know if you've gave me. I haven't done Star Citizen. But yeah, gas giant hovering cities. Venus, the atmospheric gases are dense enough for basically all of Venus that oxygen would actually float like helium does in Earth's atmosphere. So you'd basically be working with meh, man. Okay, we'll live with it. I don't like the clipping. Although alternatively, I could just bring this forward and bring these ones out. But yeah, no, you'd be looking at cloud cities on Venus being a much more practical solution if we wanted to make human life interplanetary within our own solar system. Uh, you'd basically have people living in dirigibles, and from that, it would go into the idea of you'd be able to send crews down to the uh, Venetian crust and pull hard materials, irons, and any of the physical terrestrial materials, and then come back up to the blimps and bring them up. Otherwise, you have the buoyancy there, and you can be processing some of the heavier gases as burnables for fuel as well. Yeah, I did. Oh well. I mean, I know my spacing. Luckily, everything is fairly standard here, so it's easy to recreate. There we go. And bring you up. And I think this guy was right because we should be fairly well lined up. Yeah, that's one over because I had space against the wall. Yeah, I know that's the itch, right? Most of us were born uh after the moon landing, so like, the everything that we could explore, like we're past the exploration era, and now it's just people kind of figuring out how to deal with where we're at. And that's been kind of it's like one of the great disappointments for a lot of people is to have missed the exploratory period of Earth. The only places we really don't see are the bottom of the ocean or out in the stars. Right. For not on Earth, but not of Earth. Yeah. And there's just a whole kind of vibe on what it would mean for moving forward for us as a species. And it poses a lot of interesting questions as to like, what do we have coming next for us? Alright. Cool. Just rebuild. What's the maximum speed I can throw on you again for concrete? Your max speed is how many units per minute? Okay, I only need a Mark II belt on there. Otherwise, I'm just doing overkill. Oh yeah, money is always the problem. I mean, it's the whole thing of it's the byproduct of a capitalist economic system, right? If there's no profit in it, there's no reason to invest in it. Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about it really well on how the fundamental space race and everything else in that nature, or even the general development of technology, is fundamentally in its very nature socialist, because most advances in major leaps and bounds in technology have always been federally or publicly funded. Even when you look at technology like Wi-Fi, was it the NSF, the National Scientific Foundation or whatever? That is the primary point for which that technology has been developed from, and then that technology then becomes available to the private sector to utilize and be able to profit thereof on the utilization of the technology in practical senses. Uh, I mean, that's always been the kind of utopia idea, right? Where people can contribute to the overall betterment of society and not have to really worry about things beyond that. I know, I need to get a refuel station set up. Alright. And computer, are you happy? Yes, computer is happy with utilization. No, if money wasn't a problem, like there's so much more that we'd be able to do as a society. Unfortunately, we are bound by the system in which we exist and we learn to operate there within. Alright. So this is all set up. We've got copper and wire being thrown into dimensional systems. So this guy is just trucking. It's going as fast as it can go. We're throwing it into storage. How are we looking on storage? Yep, little by little. Okay. Oh yeah, and I mean fundamentally it's there is value in the system in as which it exists already. Uh to say that there isn't value in how we do things, it's just I think we've kind of gotten to some of the extreme ends, which is where I think we get ourselves into trouble. Uh, like we're at the point of maximizing profitability to the detriment of anyone who is not a shareholder. And I mean, it's the whole thing. Everyone will sit there and be like, "Oh, so what you're advocating for is communism?" And it's like, not quite. I mean, I just want to shift the whole curve to the right of wealth distribution, like instead of this exponential curve that we hit anymore, like we need to get to something a bit more realistic and a bit more balanced. But that's wild talk. What if we were assisted from the outside about this entire ordeal with exploration? Or I mean, it goes back to the old philosophical thing, right? Of Lord help us if a species that is anything like we are finds us first, in which we are we're just another resource to exploit, right? Uh, there's a guy who does Reddit readings on YouTube, r slash, and he's kind of great. listened to him for a long time, but he got onto the idea of like, what if aliens existed and like what would happen? And I kind of like his theory on like why humans wouldn't be killed off because the one thing that might make Earth redeemable to an alien population that is used to traveling for long periods is dogs. Because dogs are a almost perfect companion. Uh in the sense of like, they're cute, they're cuddly, you can play with them, they provide social needs, they have a level of emotional intelligence, blah 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 blah. But a alien species wouldn't have the fundamental knowledge that we do as a collective that we've had through veterinary care over time. And so the idea being is humans are kept around to cultivate dogs for the new alien overlords, which, I mean, is a stretch, but at the same time, like, I do kind of love that idea of dogs being almost a perfect interstellar companion moving forward. And we were supposed to build power lines, man. Here I am rambling about space. We should have everything we need for the towers. Yeah, let's just go ahead and build. But yeah, no, I totally agree with the theory that dogs will be the thing that saves humanity when we finally have interstellar visitors. That is the very fear of ourselves. It doesn't necessarily what is going to happen cause meeting another civilization would be very cool. Yeah, I mean it's the whole thing. Like I don't know. I have very little faith in like I will always believe in the potential of an individual within society, but I think humanity as a whole, like when you look at humanity as a collective, it gets very problematic because the group consensus is where we get ourselves in trouble. Because I don't know, the power of the individual is always something to be lauded and praised, but I fear we kind of put ourselves into some kind of hard to manage boxes. What? That puts me over on a couple sides, so let's just be over on one side. And then when we tear down the facility, we'll go at it from there. All right, now for our long stretch. How far can we go? Yeah, oh yeah, we are going to be the dark ones in that scenario, but then oh yeah, no, I think we have a very small subsection of people who are very much interested in the reality of what interstellar travel will be. But I think it's a very kind of split thing of you're either wildly excited about the possibility or uh, motives are going to vary person to person, right? But that said, I mean, it's not like we shouldn't be chasing it down. It's something that we definitely need. We aren't going to, things aren't going to get better if we're just waiting, right? And this guy is a little off my north south, so we'll rotate for the north south. There we go. Hooray for cardinal orientation. And because for whatever reason I care, easy change in that area is the fear of being taken control over, because that's kind of already happened. I mean, yeah, yeah, it's always going to be the fear. I mean, the fear of control is always going to be something that I think we will end up fighting. All right. And then I should be able. Oh, sweet. It'll let me actually hit from here. Perfect. Need to rotate it a little bit. All right, rotate 90. That should be, yep, that's the direction we want. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's that whole thing of how much of it is just the fear that we project of what we believe ourselves to be potential of. I mean, how much of scientific fiction is just most space fiction is going to be just a rehashing of old Submariner stories, because I mean that's basically all you have available for it, space and Submariners have very similar plot devices. Uh, then what is it? The secondary then being it's just it's a reflection of ourselves, right? Uh, Star Trek, a lot of people don't fully realize or appreciate the idea that Star Trek, in its very nature, is a analysis on the human condition. I mean, in the scope of like the application of the stories and the narrative, right? We so much of Star Trek itself was a analysis of kind of the human condition and how we as a species are sometimes how we treat one another and how those archetypes exist within society and through the lens of obscurity or outrageousness. Like, oh, well, if this was an alien species and we saw this, we'd think it's wild. But this exact thing happens here on Earth and we don't bat an eye at it, right? Uh, Star Trek itself was like, as much as some people would hate to admit it, was a very politically vocal and in many cases very liberal within the American scheme of things, a very liberal uh show, which is very interesting when you start like looking at the time that the show was written and the things going on in the world there within. There's a lot of very interesting concepts that are discussed. And I mean, it goes both ways. You can interpret things as you will, but Star Trek was very much a reflection of humanity rather than it was a imagining of a future. All right, so we've got, where's that one? Because there's our power line there, so we'll jump up top and go. See, Stargate, that's one I need to come back to and actually watch. Because, oh man, got through Battlestar, haven't completely finished Stargate or necessarily even really gotten super deep into it, which I know is a sin for a lot of people. Yeah, we need to. No, that should be fine. Yeah, we'll just build a base and call it good. Like, I'm familiar with Stargate enough to kind of understand a lot of the general discussion there around, but I actually haven't actually gone through the whole series yet. Although it's been highly recommended multiple times. All right, we'll just build out right here. There we go. And bring that around. Perfect. New Stargate show coming to Amazon Prime soonish. No idea when though. Yeah, Amazon Prime has been picking up a lot of stuff lately. It's been kind of great to see. Like we're getting to see a lot of shows get picked up there that otherwise might not get much of a chance anywhere else. So that's been exciting. I mean, most recent being, things like Has Been Hotel and what have you. Uh, I mean, The Boys has been an amazing series to follow along with. Please tell me it's not too far. Wire's too long. Ah! Okay, we'll rehome this over here. We should be able to get an in-between. Oh yeah, we should be able to get an in-between, no problem. Because we want to be about right there, right? Let that go, and then we should be able to hit. Yeah, we can hit that, like there. So we'll kill that. One, two, three, and four. Throw the cosmetic on it, because we like things to be pretty. Oh yeah, no. There's a lot of good, like I said, there's a lot of good stuff coming out lately. I've not been disappointed with much of what we've been getting in production. We're at least getting what we pay for. Uh, let's see, that is facing that direction. Let's bring you around and just hit here. Because I totally hit the wrong button. Oh, finger aerobics. I swear, this game is nothing but some obscure finger aerobics some days. Grab it, grab it, grab it. Yes. There we go. All right, hit. And then we need to think we're aligned. Bring it over just a wee bit. Yes. And then, yeah, that's where we want to be. Perfect. That's where we want to be if I didn't flip it wrong. Oh, I gotta look up, man. Gotta look up. Man, hardcore falling for the trope right now of gamers don't look up. My god. Last time, actually do it this time and rotate it in advance so that I don't have to do it again. Dude, the gamers don't look up trope always gets me. As much as I sit there and try and be self-aware of it, I am horrible about it. Okay. Okay, now. Jesus Christ, that took far longer than it should have. There we go. Oh yeah, I mean it's if you don't laugh, you cry, right? So we got this hypertube system, which will be not as relevant once we have long power distribution, and then we can just ride the cables. All right, so this is all ready to be interconnected to the primary grid system. Oh, that's perfect. Gotta try. It's hard some days. All right, perfect. Oh, we're looking much better now. So, got truck station set up. Get these guys connected in network. We want a secondary right off side. Do we have a Mark II? Yeah, Mark II. Missing quick wire. Okay, we'll stay with Mark 1. One, two. So that gives us 3 connections off of this guy already. Let's go ahead and actually break the connection here. And from there, drop that. Kill you. There we go. That works. That'll get us everything up top where we need it for generation. Perfect. And then we just got to hit this guy with power, and then this little subsection is ready to go. Drop that there. Up and keep things running. Reset the playlist. Perfect. You aren't yelling at me, are you? What do you mean, no power? Get out of here with that no power stuff. We connected in, didn't we? Okay. We'll figure that out. There we go. And I'll be right here. And then we want to hit, let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 things to connect to here. So we'll drop right off center. Bring power in here. And 1 power connection over here. There we go. All right, system is set up. And we got 1 last connection over there, which, do we want to bring that in? I think we need to bring that in. All right, let's bring our last belt in. Can I hit that from here? I cannot. The conveyor is too long. Hit right here. There we go. Perfect. Then you need 1 connection. this will be the last for this line. All right, there we go. Now we can bring down the rest of the facility and completely convert to coal power. Man, to be able to get rid of this whole facility, man. And then we just got this guy sitting. Space elevator is our last little architect of what was. Although that said, we should probably upgrade this guy to a platform so we can hit it with the power grind. I think we need to go over one. Yeah, there we go. We'll put the ladder at the back. There we go. And that is our placement. Oh, nope, a little bit more. There we go. Hey, Sandy. I'm just running Netflix, dude. It's copyright free stuff, so it's actually kind of nice. Actually lets me have some decent music instead of just kind of the royalty free jazz that I was going with before, which I mean, I don't hate it, but yeah, it's what it'll be. Good to see you, Sandy. How you been doing? Oh, my hair's been like this for a while. Most days it's like yeah, most days it just kind of falls in. I normally have it up hairsprayed and back, but today I've been chill. So it just kind of falls out. What is it? It wasn't until this last year that I finally got rid of the COVID hair. Uh, it used to be like halfway down my back. So, that was fun. Had braidable hair. But no, I was working in a frozen fruit plant. So I was spending most of my days out on a production floor that was like 45, 48 degrees. And since I was wearing a beanie all the time, I finally just decided to cut it because having my hair pulled up all the time and in a braid or whatever in a beanie just wasn't good for it. So yeah, no, the as I had it put to me, the oh my gosh, wow, his name completely blanks on me now. Brendan Fraser, that's who it is. Came to me. I joked I went Brendan Fraser, George of the Jungle to Brendan Fraser, the Mummy, which isn't a terrible transition. All right, 1, 2. We're looking good. Yeah, and it's just the whole thing of like, what's the point of having, the hair done up if it just is bound all the time? So, eh, it was fun. I'm glad I did it. To be able to have had the experience of having my hair that long was definitely interesting. Definitely makes me much more sympathetic to the plights of the fairer sex and, you know, the frustration that is getting your hair caught in the seatbelt and so forth. That is a pain not forgotten in a short period of time. Oh man, that the first time that happened, that was just a major. What the fuck, boyo? Are you talking to aliens again, dude? Come on. Come here. Hi. No talking to aliens, okay? Yes. Good boy. Why don't you go to your spot, huh? Oh, that's a good boy. Glenn, you're gonna make me have to set up a pupper cam if you keep laying there like that. No, are you talking that so he will look up at the ceiling and bark at the ceiling and it's kind of been the running joke of the is he talking to aliens just because he is prone to seizures and so we just tease him kind of relentlessly about that aspect. Yeah, so he looks up at the ceiling and he barks at the ceiling. It only we don't know if there's something that got into the attic. It's a rental, and I'm not about to go crawling up to check stuff out, and I'm not, frankly, not too worried about it outright. Uh, we don't hear anything, and there's no signs of a point of entry. So all that being said, but it is on the scope of. I did put in a 5.1 surround system with the like small tweeter speakers hung up near the ceiling and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of induced energy, like radio frequency picking up in it. And if there's probably something that is really quiet that we can't personally hear, but that he's hearing that we can. Okay, we'll fix that. But yeah, so we joke that he's talking to aliens because largely we've kind of discerned that he's specifically looking up to the points in the room where the speakers are. So it's become kind of obvious that we think he's barking at small amounts of noise coming off of the speaker system. But he has seizures and everything else, so we just joke that it's the aliens talking to him again. He seizes when he's receiving signals from outer space. Okay, we'll put that at 4 millimeter. We'll zoop that out, and then we'll have our superhighway. Honestly, I should just intercept up here. Although I'm terrified that it's not going to line up. Oh well. We deal. We'll take some ramps. And we need just a wee bit more to get where we're going. Is that it? Uh, there we go. And please, 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 please be on the same z-axis. Oh, we are not so lucky. If I do a smaller one, will it hit? Nope. Alright. Well, you take the wins with the losses. We'll just rebuild. We've been rebuilding everything anyway. I didn't like this loop anyway. But once we get this set up, we'll have all of our materials except for that Caterium line that I am totally thinking that will not upgrade. I do not want to have to go all the way out there to get that Caterium sorted. the inefficiency of how much Caterium I'll have on that belt is something I will happily suffer through. Yeah, that's probably about right. Yeah, okay. Let's load them up. If we load these guys up, we should be good to go. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll keep the fuel. All right, drop that. And then we got 2 crates to dismantle. Because, somehow I end up forgetting about materials. And then 1 more dismantle. Or not. Okay. Won't look a gift horse in the mouth. Perfect. And we'll get that there. Couple more down low. Perfect. That should get us what we need to get up and down, man. Soup that out. Some extra space for roadway, and we should be good. All right. 1 more truck station. We'll double up like we do. Which one is which again? The inn is in the middle. Perfect. Jump up. Uh, yeah, we'll put 1 more set. But once we get this, we'll have everything we need for resources set up to start mass manufacturing over at the new plant, which I'm excited for the new plant, dude. We got space over there finally, and we got layouts that will actually give us some scope of efficiency. That is a problem. There we go. Perfect. All right, we'll hit that double 1 more time. And we just gotta hit all 4 coming in. 1 and 2. Double up. 1. Can we do straight belt? Yes, we can. Straight belt. Mm. Yep. And straight in. Perfect. All right, we got a nice clean system. We'll grab this guy, bring him over. Oh, look at that. Nice. Gotta love your lined up belts, man. All right, and then just do our 1 power line reconnect. Ah, golden. All right. We are set up for traffic. Alright, and walls. Try and minimize how much these things fall. Because my god, the tractors cannot stay on these routes to save their lives. There we go. Man, that is a drastic change from what we started with. Oh man, 2 hours already? Jeez. Alright, get that quick stretch in. Dude, the tractors are wild, especially since they're the first things you get the autonomous driving for, or at least autopilot. Like, the ability of it to follow that line, like, it's a great system. I've seen a lot worse, but man, it leaves me very concerned about the alignment. Luckily, they do teleport back when you run into an issue, but still. Yeah, the actual trucks I've seen people using them, and they seem solid. Man, that is just a wild, minute difference, man. Just so little, and it's gonna just make me redo the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with centers of gravity, right? All right. I just need to finally get there because, I mean, now that we're at a point where I can actually make some serious progress to phase two, the primary factory is going to finally be at a point where it's usable. Although I guess the whole concern now is how in line with the rest of the factory is this? Because they're built on two different planes and I didn't lock them in together. That's a mod I need to grab is for the Z position, man. Save myself all kinds of trouble. Oh man, we're actually probably going to be off. Oh man, that's gonna be frustrating. You can, but I don't think you can do it after it's built. So that's gonna be the interesting part. We'll figure it out. And I mean, the wheelbase on this is wide enough that it probably isn't gonna hurt too much. Because I know you can do the nudge and then you hit control to nudge a little bit less. It's just after the build, but we'll live. All right, so that gets everything there. And not having the need for distractions anymore. Nowhere to go. And yeah, no, it's doing the games and the streaming has become the big distraction, and if not distraction, at least a outlet for me. Because man, job hunting for 6 months, because manufacturing in the state of Washington it just took a nosedive. Was it back in August we'd already lost 3,600 jobs in manufacturing, and we ain't doing much better, man. Let's see. Can I grab? Yes, I can grab. Let's see if we can hit this down. There we go. Yeah, 9 to 5s are, I mean, so many places are just soul sucking. More often than not, I've just learned it comes down to poor management. Most management structures aren't set up appropriately. Command and control style management, just a massive failing within the corporate hierarchy. Right. This, yeah, no, I at a certain point you get to the grind of with work being something that is just a requirement. Yeah, no, I feel that. It was like my time at SpaceX, dude. I was just working to live at that point. Like, there wasn't anything else to be chasing. Okay, we're gonna have to actually plan this one separately so that we end up on the same z-axis. Otherwise, I am just wasting my time. Let's see what we got. All right, running across, power looking good. We got distribution on multiple points. Hell, why don't we just reconnect that to there and then run it up the mountain? It'll be a cleaner run. There we go. And get the clean run of power here. And there we go. Linear layout. That works. Oh, just in the day-to-day jobs? I mean, financial stability. When you got a system that requires people to work regardless of what their outputs are. I mean, it's the whole thing. Automation might be the blessing and the curse if we utilize it correctly and how we tax businesses. Like, it's the radical idea, but uh, as we move towards more automation, it would make sense to have a tax on automation. A tax on automation relative to the amount of jobs that the implemented automation has removed from the job force, such that we can fund a universal basic income that makes up for the lost wages caused by the reduction in work through technological implementation. And if we continue with the shareholder capitalism model, we end up in a trap that we create for ourselves in which there just isn't work for people. And how do you expect people to survive when there just isn't work to be done? Which is a tricky question for a lot of people because, I mean, there's a general like knee jerk reaction against the concept of a universal basic income, and I kind of get where people are coming from, but at the same time, like if we're going to be moving forward to something different, we're gonna have to change the way we do things. It's an inevitability, unfortunately. Then this should be I don't need it truly west facing because we want to head that direction. And then missing steel pipes. All right. I don't have anything for that. Don't have any materials. Is this Caterium? Was I was asleep on Caterium this whole time, man. You're not chasing my tomorrow. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, like philosophically, if we get into it, like that same freedom is essentially tied to our economic status, right? I mean, you can be as free as you want, but it's for most of the commodities most people require, we're bound by the economic system that we are forced to exist in, whether or not we agree with it. All right, this is all iron. All right, let's just get iron set up. All right. Yeah, you aren't gonna hit me if I come over here. 2 and 3. Copy this layout. You only need to be a Mark II at best. I have you rotated wrong, don't I? Don't I? There we go. That's what we want. And you at a Mark III. To me, the entrapment, plain and simple, philosophically speaking. I mean, that's fundamentally what what is it, Brennan Lee Mulligan with the joke about the economic system uh, of capitalism described in the scope of like Monopoly. Of like, so the fun part is you're already playing. You've actually been playing since the moment you were born. I mean, we do. It's just, are we truly allowed it, or do we accept that which we have been told we can accept? Like, do we accept that which we have been told is what should be enough for us? Because I mean, freedom is a weird concept. Because like the more freedom you have, the more reliant you become on others to a degree. Because I mean, no person is an island, right? And so like freedom is very much like the American founding fathers put is very paradoxical in and of itself. I mean, it's the whole reason why when America got set up, you had the oh my gosh, what was that? The John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, and one other whose name I can the Federalist Papers. There we go. You don't want to do whatever you want, like park your cars, right? But no, it forms an interesting concept. Oh, we filled this up, didn't we? Yep. All right. All right. So we need to get the iron and the caterium rolling. Iron here will be able to be used for byproducts. We can get going side by side. Uh, we can be providing up to out of this 270. We can do 90 per unit, but we don't run up to 90. We get up to 37.5. So we're dealing with 100 and 12. Oh no, 75. Okay, perfect. So 75, 75, 75. We might have to add in an additional because that's 150, 225 under the 270. Okay, we can work with that. Of course, people don't honorable and help each other. I mean, at that point, what you're just kind of getting into is social contract theory, right? Of that foundationally, we as a species, as a collective, uh, it's ideally what a true system of quote unquote anarchy would run on is a fundamental consensus of what is the good and decent thing for people to do, and that even without unless in mass the society has to therewithin correct itself, that uh, people will do the right thing for the collective while also serving their own self-interest first. Yeah, no, I mean it's kind of, I mean, isn't that kind of what the big question is right now in the world of with most of society being based around capitalistic ideas? What does a system look like that is a bit more fair to everyone? What does that look like, and how do we move towards it? I mean, even if we moved fundamentally away from just outright shareholder capitalism into a stakeholder model, that in and of itself would actually yield significantly better results for us as a collective than what we presently have. Just moving into stakeholder in the sense of like instead of just worrying about the shareholders themselves, anyone who is affected by the way that the business is operated has their needs taken into consideration. I mean, it's not a wild concept, it's just one that we largely as a society don't discuss or look into. About economic system, they were actually that type of society, but they turned greedy somehow. So, I mean, greed is inevitable. I mean, human to try and subvert human what is kind of generally seen as quote unquote human nature for long enough, you eventually run into issues. I mean, it's all down to the parables of any religion, any foundational philosophical belief system. Uh, I mean, even if you get into ethics, you learn that, people aren't against you, they're just for themselves, right? And that's where we kind of get into the deeper ideas of societal responsibility and everything else. All right. So you are running. I have 225 iron to make use of. All right, we need to get a sink line set up. Where do we want to put that sink line? I mean, we can just run it out the wall here. Because if we ran straight out the wall and then we could just make one system that handles all of our overflow. So we'd be hitting right about there, right? Yeah, we'd be hitting right about here. So right in this in between. So we'll actually just drop in there. I have been wondering if we should take a. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot that gets into kind of the philosophical aspect of what it means to be, especially as a member of a collective or a society, right? Oh, maybe over just a little bit more. Okay. So from that, we were looking at about 2 clicks, I think. Now that one I think should be good. Yeah, I think that gets us where we want to be. And that should be about center of the wall. One more over, okay. Because we're just off pitch just a little bit. That should be our... We're gonna call it good. I mean, it's kind of what... I mean, the system isn't broken, guys. It's working exactly as it's intended to. Like, that's the thing people keep coming back to is like, things aren't broken. It's just doing as intended. I'm gonna be picky. God dang it. Too picky for my own good. Because we were there. I think we need to be there. Okay, it needs to be a window right in that slot right here. Perfect. And we'll put in a wall here. Because, I mean, it's the whole thing of like, if you have people who are demotivated, who are demoralized, I mean, it's great for business. You can drive sales, you keep people numb, you keep reliability in the workforce. I mean, yeah, it gets a little bit into the being speculative, but at the same time, like, it's not a wild assumption to jump to the conclusion of it's just kind of how things are designed. Like, people, I mean, the alcohol industry has thrived on people's depression for centuries, millennia even. I mean, it's not even peace, right? The universe seeks equilibrium. It's why we're faced with the inevitable heat death, right? We're to be lined up right here. Yeah, that's what we want. Perfect. And can we push out a little bit? I'll live with that. Because the universe is just seeking equilibrium. It's us who makes it complicated. Things will eventually spread out into nothingness. And, you know, the argument of futility. We need this right here. We need to be high enough that we can get vehicles under and then go in. There we go. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, our window of understanding of solar activity is just so small that largely I try not to. I do not know anywhere near enough about solar to even worry myself about it until someone says there's a problem that I need to worry about. Otherwise, I'm just going to stress myself out for no good reason. We need to be down one. Too ambitious. And I need the through wall, actually. Because we're connecting to the... Oh, we don't. We have a power pole right here, dude. Don't be a dingus. There we go. All of our overproduction now handled. Beautiful. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, you're out of fuel. I was about to think I was stepping in front of the car to get run over despite my crosswalks, man. Alright, so we got that. Now we need to build out our constructors. We need rods, we need, what is that, sheets. From there, rod and sheet. What else can we manufacture? We're looking at, we'll just poke into this guy and look at recipes. Uh, we have iron pipe capability, rods and screws. So yeah, we can just do rods and plates, and that'll get us rolling at least. And we can add more capability if we need more capability. We'll be running rods in a double, and then we'll be running plates as a singular. Because we need more rods than plates, or we can even just run a straight rod line, straight plate line. In either case, we get good utilization. Let's see. That gets me lined up, and we still got space on both sides. Hell yeah. There we go. One more set. And that should... Yeah, we'll run a rod line. And 37.5 on the max in. These guys are running up to what, 75? Man. So we are actually limited on our throughput here. We can actually cut these guys down. 37.5. And that's a Mark 1. Shit. Keep it easy on us. Oh. Oh no, that's 250. Okay. Look at that. So we're actually perfect. 37.5. Throttle these boys down. And we can always just do it if we need to. We can throttle up and reroute materials on a split. But we're not dying for materials at this moment. That's sad. That said, we could reroute materials. Yeah, might as well plan to reroute because we're gonna need to do it anyway. If we want to maximize throughput, we're gonna need to do it. So what is that? Our max is 75, so that's 2, 4, 6 units. Yeah, we can make that work. Yeah, okay. Uh, so let's go foundation. We'd want to go up, bring it across. And let's see. And one more. Jump up. I think that's our spot. That's where we can hit to double up these guys. Yes, they'll be clean, and then we can maximize throughput as much as I'm totally overthinking this. I'm going to regret this. I know it, but hey, we'll live and let live, right? All right, so get that. We will do a splitter. We basically need to take. I'm tempted to merge everything, run a split, run it up, and do one more set. It's probably the best bet. Because then we can minimize transportation waste and still get things taken care of. So we'll run with that. We'll call that what we need to do. A merge, a split, and then a transition up between the two systems. Uh, and we'll put it off of center there. Perfect. Immediate split. And an elevator up to handle the overflow. We're looking at 37.5, so that's 75. So we can get away with a Mark II elevator. And on our floor hole, perfect. Mark II, go through. Actually do it straight, because we want things to look pretty. Boom. And then one more splitter at the end of the line here. And that'll get me my triple. And that should be in line. Yes, in line. Just off to the side. Perfect. And then bump that there. One more here. If you were lined up, you'd be lined off of basically the direct center. All right, we're good. That's what we need. All right, and maximum throughput set up. There's no reason not to max this out. That goes up top, so we'll go up top and get that system set. And we basically just end up recreating. Man, okay, that works out. I'm not too upset by that, I guess. Grab our splitter. Ooh, okay. Hmm. So we'll have to be a little picky then, because I'll need to put a secondary unit, which I think we already have the second. Yeah, so we're just copying one to one to recreate it. It's an extra splitter for the sake of an extra splitter, but it'll make sure we're parallel in our implementation. Which parallel implementation doesn't have many downsides. Right. And let's see. Because this one is off of the direct center. Which I think we're slightly. I think that's where we want to be. If we're aligned properly. Yeah, that's our spot. Right on the edge and splitting the line. All right, I think that's it. All right. And we'll build in the architecture to make it look pretty. We are right up against, like we're supposed to be. Perfect. Mark 2, straight on through. Too steep. Excuse me. And I think we're set. Um, Rods maxed out 37.5. Copy settings. Paste. Paste. And we'll just live with a little bit of overhang. If anything, we'll just move and we won't be in line. That gives us far more than enough. Oh no. Slightly off. I knew I was off, man. All right. Right, that's what we'll do right there. Perfect. That should be my 1-to-1. And we'll build everything else off of that. Oh well. We can dream. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we can do to make this look better. Right. Overlap it and bring it up. So we'd be looking at 1. Right. And Mark II elevator. All right. Go ahead, get the floor hole dropped in. All right. So we double up. We got this guy set. Should only need 120. Go ahead, do double, double. And from there, we bump this guy. What is that? That should be our perfect lineup, yes? Yes, it is. There we go, we actually did it that time. Oh, the struggle that is, man. Oh, don't tell me. I did. I put it backwards. Ah, fight continues, man. Drop on. Let's see, that should be right up against. Perfect. Then we want you right there. That gets us our clearance. Minimize clipping. All right, beautiful. Man, I wish I had. I mean, you know what? Screw it. Because I have how much overhang over here? Eh, if we shift everything, what is that? 3? Is that going to be my magic number? That puts me about the middle. That works. So that puts everything lined up off of the center. Yeah, that works. We at least get an equal overhang at that point. And one of the most important things when you're setting up a factory is even if it's not able to be perfect, if you can at least make things symmetrical, they at least appear intentional, even if they never were. And we will go for the illusion of. We will go for the illusion of intention any day of the week over here. Go. Okay. Let's see. Drop that from there to there. Then another in a similar position from here down. Eh, we'll live with that. We'll figure out how to make it look structurally uh, meaningful later, at least for the meantime. Just don't have free floating platform. There we go. And ladder. Man. Industrial railing. And are we able to push this? And we'll take the hit. Yeah, that works. Good stuff, man. That's what we want. All right. And how many per minute do we have coming out? 75, right? 37.5. Perfect. So for that 37.5, 7500 Mark II into a Mark III into storage. Missing steel beam. All right, let's get some steel beam. How we doing over here? Looking good. Slow progress. All right. One of these guys has material. There we go. Oh, the question becomes, oh man, singular station floating, not a big deal. The lighting will bleed over. Dealt with that in a project before. Enough reflected light that you don't need independent lighting. Uh, can't do it on a whole production area. This is a individual implementation, especially because we're going to be sending some of these rods off to be manufactured into something else. So this will be Mark II into a merge, which is logistics. And let's see, we'll do that and put you there. Mark II. Steel pipe is what I needed, not beam. Jeez. Oh, do I not have any pipe anymore? Did I use all that up? I did not. Okay, thank goodness, because otherwise we were going to have a bigger problem. Although we are starting to run scarce on our production materials for where we want to be. We gotta get this factory up and running, man. So I have two things that need items for rod. What is that? That's going to be, I believe, our frames. Yes, our frames, and frames require reinforced iron plates. So that's a assembly. So we'll have to run into the industrial storage, and from the industrial storage pull what we need, consolidate, and then redirect, because we do want to have some sushi belts going on overhead. Did I put all the beams away? My god, dude. Okay. We're just throwing some steel products into the dimensional space. Uh, let's make sure you have that. And then there's some plates as well. You got pipe, you got that, and then you will be running some steel plates. Got steel ingot and some more plate. There we go. Excellent. Now we're cooking with gas. Look at that. Almost like there's a plan that took 3 trips to figure out. Mark II. And then we can do another Mark II into this. Oh, come on now. I'm weirdly specific about railing because one of my last projects for construction involved stainless steel railings and all the fun that is getting those installed and the print for my primary vendor not matching the actual implementation, and boy oh boy. All the fun that is having to do last minute stainless steel cuts and re-welds to make sure stuff fits properly, man. Luckily I had a really great welder on call. Dude was worth every penny. And him coming and doing emergency work was still cheaper than calling my normal guy at standard rate. So, owe that man a few favors and a few drinks still, but not gonna complain about that. Dude always came through in a pinch for us. When you get skilled tradespeople like that, there's just you hold on to them like crazy, man. Reanimated Sam, steel pipe. All right, everything here just cooking. And can I afford to steal one of these guys since I don't have many Mercer spheres? And we'll steal you. All right, throw you down here. This will get us our constant feed for our further construction efforts. And then we'll throw you to the ceiling to be redirected wherever you need to go. That's a TBD. Man, that industrial storage is going to be super useful. To be able to double pull off of that without a splitter? Dude, that is sick. Oh, man. Gotta work on that posture, man. All right. Let's take a look at this factory layout as it's developing. Uh, quickly, we need to get our power situation dealt with. Let's do that. And from here, we can not connect to you because you're already overloaded. Could go to the other side. I don't like that. Can't do anything about it. Hmm. Let's see. We can run over here. From there. I mean, we aren't clipping. I'll call that good. Then we'll go ahead. We'll leech off of you. Throw one there. And across. We'll do power drops to our unit here and here. That one doesn't look as good. There we go. Then we take that across up top, and then we got our power up top as well. And we keep some nice clean sight lines. All right. Might have to go slug hunting soon, man. I didn't even connect these today. Yeah, so I actually need to pull this out a little bit further. My concern about this placement is unfounded. Hit that. Pop this over. Grab our merger. Throw you like that. Mark 2. There we go. And if I overlap default, huh? Oh man, I wish we could just super nudge it. Oh well, it's almost indecipherable. That would not be the code for OSHA unless it was. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. And this one is close enough, yes? Yes, that is close enough that someone would not fall through. Perfect. Oh, to be a safety nerd. As if anyone is going to be falling off of these to begin with. Perfect. All right, that's our rods. Good to go. Perfect. That's exactly what we needed, man. We looking good. And we would technically have a crossbar here. Oh, take that. Looks decent. Man, I'm almost disappointed I didn't put the catwalks one level higher at this point now. We look good. We get a nice view over our production facility regardless. I know, we're looking good. Although we might want to merge these and just put them all on the sink together. That said, might just need to build another sink. But we are hitting 6 o'clock my time. I'm gonna have to get started on making dinner here soon. Uh, I'll have to build a new project charter here and what this factory's laying out to be. Uh, we're getting pretty well set up. We've got more than enough space to expand, and I anticipate one or two of these bays is not going to be utilized to begin with, and we'll probably get. Oh, hi, bud. I'm sorry, I forgot you were down there. I'm sorry. We'll probably end up utilizing stuff a little bit differently than anticipated as we probably build out about part way and add another truck depot in to bring in raw material and just kind of segregate the factory off into primary cells between intermediate products and some of our higher level assemblies. But we'll go at it from there. I mean, we're moving forward on the project management side of things here, keeping things going while also being able to start dealing with waste a little bit more effectively and ensuring that we have materials that we need available when we need them. So, nothing wrong with that front. So, we'll call that here for today and just slowly keep working on building it out from there. So, yeah, if you don't already, I mean, this has been a bit slower than what we normally do. Normally talking a bit more on lean. Today we got into a bit more of ethics and philosophy, especially within economic systems, and a bit more on the space side. But we're building systems that focus on having good flow, pulling lean methodologies, trying to implement Toyota production philosophy as much as we can to try and make factories that work somewhat effectively for us. So if you enjoy that, feel free to drop a follow. And, eventually we should have some more content, whether it be on the side of podcast or YouTube, to try and keep things moving forward in that sense and provide more outlet for learning opportunities. So, yeah, everyone, have a great evening. Thanks for watching.